15 love.
The team has never faced Auger-Aliassime's serve before. This is their first meeting. Aliassime, here's how well he's taken care of his serve. He's won 48 of 49 service games so far. The Italian's still in. Berrettini, he hasn't dropped serve yet.
And that's what you are looking for if you're Dominic Thiem.
15 all.
You don't want Auger-Aliassime to be holding service games with the forehand, because that's what he wants. He wants to be able to dictate play. You want to make Auger-Aliassime play as many backhands as possible. Now, he's still got a phenomenal backhand, but it's not going to do the consistent damage that that forehand wing's going to do. And it's always such a balancing act on the return games. You know, your first priority when you're returning, make the opponent play, especially make them play with their less offensive shot. Let's get these points back to neutral. Then once that happens, you get a chance to decide, okay, am I going to take control or am I just going to keep making them suffer on that weaker wing?
(15-14). (30-14). Out. Juice.
Frederic Fontaine is Felix Auger-Aliassime's coach, along with Guillaume Marx. Calm, steady presence for the kid, huh? My kind of coach.
There it is, you know, team doing a phenomenal job right now getting in these points. I mean,
and finding the backhand.
Exactly.
Taylor.
That's exactly right. He did that a lot against Andy Murray. You know, Andy Murray is one of the tougher guys to ace on tour, and he was racking up aces against Andy Murray. It was impressive.
24 aces and just 2 double faults. Almost 70% first serves in. And again, Andy Murray looked very much compromised after a long first-round match. And Felix had 52 winners against him, and he had 9 against Felix.
It's a tough approach from Auger-Aliassime, not really electing to come in there on that point. It was mandatory. Good reaction at the net, just It's a tough position when your opponent has a good rip at a passing shot. You have to do something special with the volley.
Advantage, Auger-Aliassime. Deuce.
And the same exact point as the last break point. Auger-Aliassime not really wanting to come in there. It wasn't a desirable situation.
Is this why Thiem wanted Auger-Aliassime to serve first? Just figuring, all right, let me show this kid what kind of return game I got.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you could, well, and not only that, you could say, oh, he might be nervous and just donate me a free break right out of the gates.
Advantage, Auger-Aliassime. Game, Auger-Aliassime.
But he holds on.
You saw Thiem's frustration on that missed backhand return, and you know nobody's going to confuse Auger-Aliassime with John Isner out there, but he's serving exceptionally well. His service percentages are really high, and he's serving accurate. So when you're playing against a big server that does give you a serve where you can actually get a clean hit on it, your strings on the ball, it is so frustrating to give those points away. Best thing you can do against a big server is just make them play as much as possible.
Dominic Thiem is currently at a career high #3 in the world. Won 6 tough matches to get to the Australian Open final. The only other major played so far in 2020. He beat the likes of Manarino, Taylor Fritz, Monfils, world #1 Nadal. There's Nicolas Massu, his coach, and Zverev before Djokovic got him. Even though Thiem was up 2-1.
Love 30.
Thiem had paired with Nicolas Massu for just a few weeks before he won his first Masters 1000 on hard courts at Indian Wells. It's like, give that man a raise. Now, will he like these quick conditions as much as he likes the hard courts at Indian Wells?
Well, the hard courts at Indian Wells can play pretty slow sometimes. You know, they can. I've played there sometimes where it's, you know, me chipping and charging and serving volume. The ball just seems to just hit the court and bounce straight up just on a tee. So
Thiem likes that.
Yeah. These ones are a little bit faster, but again, even he said that these ones are a nice speed. They're nice and on the slower side compared to the outside courts this year.
Yes. Taylor, when Ivan Lendl used to play this tournament and he got to the final 8 straight years, he would have the same guys who resurfaced the main courts here immediately go, like at the end of that day, to his house, to his court in Connecticut, and make it the exact same surface and speed.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's like insider trading or something. There's got to be some rule against that.
Game team.
That was incredibly fortunate from Dominic Thiem.
One game
Drop
all
shot.
versus.
Left a lot to be desired, but guessed correctly. Not much Auger-Aliassime could do to cover this down the line pass. Thiem's going to make that shot 1 out of 100 times. That was unreal. Look at his starting position here, Dominic Thiem. Nice point, and that's kind of textbook point when you're starting that far back behind the baseline. Obviously, there's a give and take. You know, great returners have stood that far back. Great returners like Djokovic and Murray, they stand up closer to the baseline. The advantage of standing back is it gives time for the ball to drop, the speed to come off, so you get your big, heavy topspin swing in. If you're up on the baseline, the return is a much flatter, simpler stroke.
He likes it further back, doesn't he? Nadalian.
Exactly. I mean, and one-handers typically like to stand a little bit further back. Federer is an exception. Dimitrov does a little bit of both. He stands back a little bit, but you think about Gasquet is way back there. Wawrinka is way back there. Almagro is way back there. Obviously, Thiem prefers much further back. And again, I think it comes down to the one-handed backhand. It's a more complex stroke. There's a lot more risk, a lot more action than a simple two-hander. And another reason why two-handers cheat and stand up closer to the baseline is they can have both grips ready. So they have their if they're right-handed, they have their left hand on their backhand grip. They have their right hand on their forehand grip. Right. So it's very, very simple for them to change, whereas a one-hander has pretty extreme changes, and that takes a little bit more time.
He's still not sneaking in on the second. Look at the guys. He's almost in the stands, Thiem. And he misses big. The difference, somebody like Federer, though, he likes a chip backhand return, doesn't he?
Yeah, he can do a bit of everything. Federer mixes it up. He likes to rush the opponent a little bit more. Yes. Federer likes to take offense off of the first ball. Thiem likes to wind up the offense after 2 or 3 shots.
Let's for service.
I think that one thing right there is going to be the key to see how many times Thiem breaks Auger-Aliassime in this match. If he is able to find that backhand off of the returns, I should say this, I think there's going to be a direct correlation to how many times he finds Auger-Aliassime's backhand off the return to how many times he breaks.
Yeah, squirted that one over. But yeah, he's already had 2 complicated hole games, hasn't he?
Yeah. And that was an incredible little half volley, backspinner, drop shot.
A little squirrely, maybe.
You wouldn't want to have to play those too many times down a break point.
Advantage, Auger-Aliassime. Game, Auger-Aliassime.
Who's going to be attacked?
leads by 2 games
So
to
far,
1.
so good for
First
Felix. Taylor, you talked about
Love
what
15.
team is going to do to try to go after Auger-Aliassime. What's Felix going to try to do against Dominic?
I think it's the same matchup. I mean,
Really?
I think that, yeah, I think that Thiem loves doing damage on his forehand. He does damage on his backhand. There's no doubt about it. He can, but he prefers to be a little bit more solid off that side. I think Auger-Aliassime was a little lucky on that one. He doesn't want to do that.
Love
Leave the
13.
ball hanging in the middle of the court to Thiem's forehand. That's how Thiem wants to win these points. The one thing I think that's going huge in Auger-Aliassime's advantage is he rips the ball, and Thiem likes a little bit more time.
Yes. He's behaving a little more clay courtishly on hard courts than
Yeah,
most.
he has that tendency, right? But it took, how long did it take Nadal, right? To
Yes.
kind of get his hard court feet.
(15-30).
And that's just modern tennis 101 right there. Big first serve, get a weak
30.
return, and then finish the aggressive forehand anywhere. Just make sure it's close to the sideline, away from your opponent.
I'm giving credit to Ivan Lendl for inventing that big serve, big forehand.
Okay.
Is that fair?
That's fair enough.
Okay. I'm not usually fair.
(30-40).
I think Jim Courier, he kind of designed his attack game after Ivan Lendl's.
I don't think that the big serve, big first forehand's anything new. I just think that in years past you haven't had to do it to be successful. Now I think it's a prerequisite. It has to be a part of your game.
One of the most muscular, physical, exhausting matches I ever watched was Thiem a couple of years ago playing a night match against Rafa Nadal. Do you remember that thing? Unbelievable.
Absolutely.
5-setter finally. Nadal got past him, but it took everything he had. And both guys were giving up so much court way behind the baseline, just swinging from their heels.
Yeah, the only way you haven't worked hard and tried hard and fought hard against Nadal is if you lost easy. If you beat him, it's going to be a battle.
That's true.
Or if it's close. No other way around it.
Deuce.
Thiem's been losing control of these points every time he's gone to that slice backhand. Seen him do that quite a bit in this tournament. Whenever he's rushed after the serve, just goes to that chip backhand. Might have to get that out of his game. I love that angle. I love it so much. And even if your opponent knows you're going for that angle, it's almost like chess. The positioning is so bad, it doesn't matter what the opponent does. You're coming to the net, you're going to take time away, hit the volley to the open court. You positionally just absolutely put him up against it.
Game team. Two games all, first set.
Reminder, you want to catch up on the scores and highlights. The Novak Djokovic drama from yesterday, just go to usopen.org. And believe me, that place will set you up.
Love. Let's for service. All.
And that's how you have to break serve, win points against serve in modern tennis. I feel, you got to just make a solid return, and you have to be a good enough athlete to track down the opponent's first 2-3 offensive shots. If you can do that, you're going to neutralize the point more often than not. That's why foot speed is mandatory for being able to break serve.
Boy, Taylor, I don't think a lot of people consider that. That's a really cool point. I'm thinking of the best returners that we've known.
That's right.
Right? From Agassi to Djokovic to Murray.
Ferrer.
Yeah, they legged out a lot of return games, didn't they?
That's right. You have to. Because, I mean, I've watched so much tennis over my lifetime.
You're kidding.
You find that the server breaks himself more than the returner actually breaks serve. So you have to be fast enough to let the server mess up.
Yeah, an alert to the moment.
.30-40.
5th break point already. Pretty impressive against the guys you said, Mary's only been broken once so far.
There it goes. There is the break for Dominic Thiem. Number 3 seed now, up 3-2 in the opening set.
By 3 games to 2, first set. Mr. Auger-Aliassime is challenging a call on the left center service line. The ball scored in.
Let's see if this is Thiem's first ace of the match. So 126. This is the box. Okay, he did not need to hit a tweener. I'm Taylor, this has become something that's been bugging me for the last year.
Not a fan of the tweener.
Not when it's unnecessary. I mean, I like it when it's splashy and you kind of have to go for it, but when
First point of the game, you know, early in the first set.
You want the tweener?
Well, here's the deal. His chances of winning that point, honestly, are so low. If he just goes back there and hits a defensive lob.
All right. All right, fine.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just feel like, probably going to lose that point either way. May as well go for the Fed highlight.
$30 love. $40 love.
And you can see when Auger-Aliassime returns, he returns close. So, you know, if we kind of put him up against the best returners to return close, his stroke still looks like a ground stroke. The others, they don't. They look like blocks. But he still has a full swing. You can see him finishing. You can see him using a lot of wrist, a lot of, you know, it looks very much like a ground stroke. But when you see Djokovic, when you see Murray, the stroke is different. It's almost like a hybrid between a volley and a ground stroke.
$15 love. $30 love.
Third ace for Auger-Aliassime.
These guys have been hitting the ball so big all tournament. And, you know, in the beginning of this match, Dominic Thiem just kind of asserting himself a little bit more. The aggressive factor than Auger-Aliassime.
$40 love.
Mary, in his previous rounds, Auger-Aliassime has been hitting his average speed of ball 81 miles an hour. I'll give an update on what it is here, but I don't feel like he's there right now. Certainly getting bullied around a little bit by Dominic Thiem, but 40 love on his way to 3-4.
Game. Auger-Aliassime.
Clean hold for the young Canadian.
Divorce, please.
Team is still operating behind a break in this
Team
opening
leads
set.
by 4 games to 3.
Winner gets to the
First set.
quarters.
Let's for service.
That was an interesting backhand approach. I don't know if he mistimed that or did that on purpose. It was
15 love.
like a topspin drop shot almost. It was effective though. I tell you what, I didn't really expect this to, I don't know. I didn't think that Thiem was just going to come out here and completely out-hit Auger-Aliassime. And that's kind of what's happening. Thiem is taking Auger-Aliassime's best balls and hitting them back and then some.
Naomi Osaka looked good last night, didn't she? She's watching on. Osaka, the 4th seed here, now plays the unseeded Shelby Rogers, who knocked out Petra Kvitova, facing down 4 match points along the way. Kvitova said something funny, Taylor.
14,
she was asked in
15.
a press conference, 58 winners, and you didn't win. And she said, I should have hit 59.
Exactly.
Oh, it was a good match. He missed that.
I like that play though.
40-30.
You know, for me as a coach, the play is either correct or incorrect before you've hit the ball. And to me, that's a play that he's got to go to 100% of the time. You know, short ball, you have to hit that wide, and it's a great miss too. Like, I don't like when I'm attacking and I see my players, you know, missing long or in the net. That's why we put the top spin on there. That's why we put the shape on there. A miss wide, we're going to get a lot of reward for that as soon as we dial it in.
Game team.
5-3 now for Dominic
Team leads
Thiem.
by 5 games to 3. First set.
Patrick Fontang's got to be a little jumpy here. Masoud likes what he sees in Thiem.
Like you said, the long way to go. A little bit too early to get too excited. Got to keep it as close to an even keel as you can.
Look where Thiem is. If he were a little further back, he'd be calling lines. There's Shelby Rogers. What a tournament she is having, coming off of some very tough knee surgery. And just playing her way back into fitness, back into form. Good for her. She beat another seed too along the way. Raducanu, the 11th. Thinking of what you were saying, Taylor, about good misses and bad misses. So if you're a baseliner, the worst miss, if you're to a coach, is in the net?
It's complicated. Honestly, for me, the worst miss is if you're attacking, and again, this goes against the way I think offense used to be done. But for me in modern tennis, I feel that the worst miss when you're attacking is over the baseline. Do not hit the ball deep.
Okay.
And the reason for that is it's unnecessary risk. If you're attacking me, Mary, I'm not going to stand on the baseline. I'm going to be backing up in my defensive position. So now those deep balls that you're hitting aren't that deep to me anymore because I'm so far behind the baseline. What I'm giving up by standing so far back is the angles and the width on the court. So you got to kind of flirt a little bit with the net doing that. You got to flirt a lot of bit with the sideline doing that. But having said that, in another scenario, returning for Dominic Thiem that far back, a miss in the net is catastrophic. Should not be anywhere near it. You know, so I think it changes based on the situation.
Fourth ace for Auger-Aliassime. Thiem hasn't struck one yet.
It's
an easy hold, something Felix has got to be feeling a little better
by 5 games
about.
to 4, first set. Love 15. Love 30. Let's second service.
That would have been a tough start to this game. 2 doubles and a first ball miss.
Mr. Auger-Aliassime is challenging the call on the left far sideline.
Thiem thinks he missed that one. Kind of hung his head after Auger-Aliassime challenged, but the chase review smacked on the line.
Mr. Auger-Aliassime has 2 challenges remaining. Let's second service. 15-14.
This is what I was talking to you about. You know, typically when somebody gets broken, it's because they've broken themselves. You just have to hit enough good solid returns in, enough good ground strokes in to give them that opportunity. Auger-Aliassime has not done much other than just put a couple balls in play for 2 break points.
Look at that.
Auger-Aliassime.
That happened in a hurry, didn't it? It's 5-all.
That was a pretty bad game. I mean,
5 games all, first set.
When you have somebody who's been playing as solid as Thiem has in this set, I mean, 4 unforced errors. Total unforced errors that game. You got to think he was thinking about set number 2 maybe a little bit too quick.
Let's for service.
I apologize. I've been misidentifying the coach here with Auger-Aliassime. He's got 2 of them, Frederick Fontaine, but the one with him here is Gilles Marx. Sorry about that, Mr. Marx. Way off that Marx. There he is.
Love 30.
That's what you've been saying, Taylor. These guys have been breaking themselves. Trouble for Auger-Aliassime now. That's tough.
15.
I was just going to say, you know, the unforced error numbers are quite high, you know, but that's what you get when you get 2 guys hitting the ball as big as they are and not putting as much emphasis on accuracy. This point is exactly opposite. Auger-Aliassime clean that up with a good backhand wide, followed up by a forehand. Look at how close that got to the sideline. A couple inches inside. Go. There's that approach shot we were talking about, Marion. This is why when you're coming in, when you're playing offense, when you're attacking, depth is in modern tennis
15,
riskier than going wide. Now, Thiem could have missed that passing shot, but hitting it as deep as he did, he just didn't really create as big an angle and gave Thiem a really good look at that backhand pass.
(30-14). Juice.
Berrettini watching on. Matteo Berrettini plays Andrei Rublev in their 4th round.
Mr. Thiem is challenging the call on the right near sideline.
He didn't even move for that ball. He thought that was going out right off of Auger-Aliassime's racket. They both think it's out again.
I wasn't struck too cleanly, but guess what? It's in.
Advantage, Auger-Aliassime.
Auger-Aliassime has a chance to
Mr.
get
Thiem
ahead.
has 2 challenges remaining. Game.
Does it with an ace.
Auger-Aliassime.
Number 6. 126 down the side.
Auger-Aliassime leads by 6 games to 5, first set. $15 love.
I don't mind. It could have gotten a little more on that swing volley, but you know, just the way the ball comes off the racket and off the court when you hit a swing volley, you don't have to be so precise with the accuracy. It's just, it's such a lively ball off the court. It's tough to handle.
$40 love.
So in other words, you shouldn't miss swing volleys.
No, you should have big targets on the swing volleys, and you should still hit them aggressive, you know, but you shouldn't be going for the precision that you normally would on a short forehand that you're going to hit how many times in a match.
Game team.
So love hold gets us to a tiebreak.
6 games all, first set tiebreak. Each player receives an additional challenge. One zero.
7 days.
Auger-Aliassime.
Rublev watching on. He's still in. He's the guy who plays the 6th seed Berrettini, who got to the semis here last year.
Lost that point, but Auger-Aliassime, that is the perfect point you want to play in this tiebreaker. Every time Thiem goes up to serve, make him feel like he has to earn it, like he's going to have to hit 6, 7, 8, 9 balls to win the point.
2-1, Thiem.
That return was so strong by Dominic Thiem. He took it early, flattened it out, big, heavy ground stroke to the backhand of Auger-Aliassime, buying a little bit of time, and then boom. Again, look at that width on the attacking ball.
Three, 2, Thiem. Let for service.
It's at 4-2 for Thiem.
And on the ad side, this tournament, Thiem has been using that play a lot. You know, that showing that kick toss on the ad side, so the returner has to defend that kick wide, and he's able with the same toss to turn his shoulders through and get it to go straight down the tee. The player who I saw do that the best, you know, for me personally, was Agassi. He did it all the time on the ad side, and it was really hard to deal with because, you know, you want to return that kicker back cross court, and he's got one of the best backhand down the lines to follow it up. So the combo on that side, I always found it winning points on Agassi on the ad side. Returning was very, very cumbersome, very difficult.
Five, 2, Thiem. Five, 3, Thiem.
Daniil Busta, nice and fresh.
6-5 in the opening set against Djokovic when Djokovic got defaulted.
5-4, Thiem.
Daniil Busta now is in the quarterfinals to play Denis Shapovalov.
Mr. Auger-Aliassime is challenging a call on the right baseline. The ball scored out.
That is so frustrating. Again, even if he made this, chase replay is going to show that this was in fact out.
This is his approach.
Yeah, that's the approach. Again, even if he makes that approach, Thiem is still
6-4
well in that point.
Thiem.
He's not, his position is not compromised.
Mr.
He's kind of where he wants
Auger-Aliassime
to
has
be.
2 challenges remaining.
Bad miss from Auger-Aliassime brings up 2 set points for Thiem.
Mr. Thiem is challenging a call on the right baseline. The ball scored in.
He's hoping. Let's have a look. If it's out, it's set. And it is. Dominic Thiem takes the first set in a tiebreak.
By 7 games to 6. Love team.
Felix Auger-Aliassime just started playing this tournament a couple of years ago after doing so well here in the juniors. It's a pretty moment he had a couple of years ago playing his great friend Denis Shapovalov, also from Canada. On a very hot day, he was having like heart palpitations, and it's something he'd been struggling with in the past, and he has since corrected, but he had to retire from the match, and this really pretty moment happened when he and Denis hugged each other in net, and you could hear Denis saying to Felix, "Don't worry, buddy, we're both going to be back here a lot more times." Now they're both still in this year's tournament. Last year they played again first round, and again Shapovalov got him. Shapovalov all the way up to the 12th seed at this tournament. Last night on this court, Denis Shapovalov lost the first set to David Goffin and acted like he didn't. Tiebreak went away and he just kept going. Gosh, it was impressive.
Well, and the tiebreak was rough, right? 7-0.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the type of mentality you need, you know, silver lining mentality. You just move on. You take the positives. Nice point, good combo from Dominic Thiem. And that's a conversation I have with my kids all the time. Like, it's easy to build confidence when you're playing well and when you're winning. If you can't build confidence then you're not human. I mean, that's when we build confidence. The real trick in building confidence is, can you build confidence in adversity? Can you find that silver lining? Can you find the positives? And that's where you get strong, stable, healthy confidence that will carry you through and balance your level.
Game Thiem.
Thiem gets his first ace of the match.
First game,
to start the second. I know you've done a lot of coaching, Taylor. I always ask coaches this thing. What is it you find yourself saying to your young charges more than anything else? And what's yours?
Yeah, it's a great question, because I do agree. Coaches have their stamp, don't they? Their staple. For me, it's ball quality. I feel like you can do a lot of things, but when I see professional players play, and that's from Federer to whoever's 50 in the world, whatever that is, the ball quality is substantial. What I mean by that is the pace of the ball, the shape on the ball, the consistency of being able to do that. You can play tactically great, but if your ball quality is not good, then it's not going to matter.
Love team.
Ace number 9.
15-all.
And no double faults. That used to be a big problem with Auger-Aliassime, Taylor.
That's exactly right. That's one of the things that I was kind of questioning in the beginning of the match is this moment, are we going to see some doubles off of Auger-Aliassime, and he's had to play some tough points off that second serve, and he's been strong so far. Big hitting. Thiem controlled the vast majority of that point, but again, you know, hitting huge balls kind of down the middle third of the court,
15.
giving Auger-Aliassime an opportunity to turn that point around. Good recognition, way to come forward. And brave too. That was just his 4th point, 1 in 11 attempts at the net, and he's looked rough a couple of times up there. Way to have courage to keep coming forward when it's the right play. You got to commit to it. You got to commit to doing the right play, even if it's been a little bit of a struggle, because the percentages say it'll turn in your favor. And it's interesting to see the contrast, you know, with Auger-Aliassime. You know, when we talked about his match with Murray, he was making the court look so big against Murray. He was hitting so close to the sidelines, and it feels like he's not able to do the same thing against the quality of the ball from Dominic Thiem. Just a lot of these rallies are just not getting pushed toward the sidelines.
Mr. Auger-Aliassime is challenged on a call on the right center service line. The ball scored out. .30. Mr. Auger-Aliassime has 2 challenges remaining.
Maria Sakkari played a terrific match against Serena Williams. Not that many women can live with Serena for 3 tough sets. But in the end, it was Serena who came good. How's that for a return?
Yeah.
From a different borough. That's.
Yeah, he's almost in the locker room hitting that return. This is the benefit of standing that far back. You have time to kind of see what your opponent's doing. Winding up that big swing, 83-mile-an-hour return winner.
Isn't Thiem begging to be served underhandedly? Look where he is. That
Advantage Thiem.
Yeah, that's his first double.
Not a great time for it, right? Break point. He's kind of battling to get some momentum back after that first set. But it's a good play. Honestly, that second serve is a good play. And you bring up a great point. When the returner is that far back, you give up angles. The deeper you go in the court, the more you give up those angles. And serving wide on that due side is a good thing.
Game Thiem.
Broken. Thiem now
Thiem
up a
leads
set
by
and
2
a
games
break.
to love. Second set. Fault. Mr. Thiem is challenging a call on the left near sideline. The ball scored out.
Yeah, it missed.
Mr. Thiem has
just
two challenges.
Another time, you know, you just see that as the point progresses, as it goes longer, the edge favors Dominic Thiem. I mean, one of the reasons why Auger-Aliassime is winning a lot of points in less shots than Thiem is just those 9 aces.
That's skewing the numbers a bit, huh?
I think so. I mean, that's cheating a little bit, you know.
It's cheating.
Anytime you know, first serves are the biggest cheat codes of all time. Like, I feel like Zverev is one of those guys in this tournament where, you know, in his first couple of rounds played pretty good, played okay against Nakashima. I actually felt like Nakashima played a better match, but Zverev's first serve was just, it was untouchable. I love that play so much. Again, you know, and this is another thing that you asked me earlier, as a coach, what do I believe? And I believe, you know, quality of ball. I also believe in a simple combo out there. Your first objective, especially when you're attacking, is get the ball wide, get your opponent out of the court. If that mission is accomplished, next opportunity you get, you got to take the ball early and rush them to the open court and come in. Because I feel like the reason, you know, I feel so passionately about ball quality is because all the best players have it. The reason I feel passionately about that play of hitting the ball wide, taking the next one early and coming in and finish off points, the best players do it. You know, I don't believe there's a perfect technique out there. I mean, we could look at 24 hands, top 24 hands, and they're all going to have their slight variations. Do they have some similarities? Sure, of course they do. But I think, you know, teaching technique is the tip of the iceberg. I think tennis gets pretty involved and pretty deep after that, and the skill requirement is so high. These guys have set the bar so high today, you have to execute very well. Perfect. Again, perfectly executed, perfectly played.
30-40.
The approach was deep. And again, we talked about that. Unnecessary risk, but what did the damage was how wide the approach was. Then, come on in. Take time away from the person who's out of the court. Look at how far out of the court he is. That's the biggest benefit to hitting a volley is you cut away their recovery time.
Juice. Advantage team.
Auger-Aliassime did a good job getting this mid-court forehand. Hit a good approach. He hit a good approach. That was just a good setup passing shot from Dominic Thiem, just getting it below the level of the net.
Game team.
It's going to be tough to deny Dominic Thiem, isn't it? 27-year-old looking pretty good now.
And by 1 set to love.
Down a set and down love 3. I am surrounded in this constellation by announcers who are terrific coaches. I was watching with Nico Pereira this guy warm up earlier today. And Nicholas said one of the reasons he thinks this second serve has caused trouble in the past is because of the grip Auger-Aliassime uses. He can't pronate on his second serve.
He's the second player that I'm aware of. I'm sure there's more out there at a high level that have used that type of Eastern forehand grip on their serve. The other one had a pretty good serve too, Boris Becker.
I knew you were going to bring him up. Yeah. So what is the trick if you want to be wedded to that grip? What do you have to do? Because Becker, he used to get a lot of kick off his second.
Well, it's all about the angle of the racket face, right? And the angle of the racket face is a combination of what grip you're using and the turn of your wrist. So if you want more kick, you're going to have to curl your wrist a little bit more on contact with that grip. Wow, great volley. And that curl is just in an effort to kind of cover the ball a little bit, because you kind of want to be, to hit that kick serve, you kind of want to be having the racket face closed while you're coming up and across, and it kind of creates a corkscrew spin through the air that dips down like topspin and then jumps to the right if you are a right-hander.
Let's for service.
It's a tough situation for Auger-Aliassime. He's hitting the ball big, and when he hits the ball big down the middle of the court-ish, that middle third, just feels like Thiem's hitting the ball bigger, and he's winning his, more than his fair share of points. And whenever Auger-Aliassime has tried to go a little bit wider, he's just catching him a little early, mistiming him, committing a lot of errors. Dangerous to come in on that again. Didn't really get that approach wide. All Thiem had to do is put that ball down low at the feet of Auger-Aliassime, and then it's like, okay, where are you gonna hit this volley?
So for Felix to get better at the net, does he have to approach better or volley better?
Today, I would say more approach better. He has butchered a few volleys, but I think that so much weight is put on the baseline in men's tennis today that to invest time, like that's where I spent all my time, is at the net. I was spending hours a day just getting my volleys better. But I just feel like the volleys that the modern tennis player has to hit should not be the volleys that I was hitting. If you're hitting the volleys I was hitting, you're doing it wrong. You should be getting those Jim Courier volleys, where he's just hit such a good approach and then just tap it away.
Advantage, Auger-Aliassime. Game, Auger-Aliassime.
Had to hold there, didn't he?
Team leads by 3 games to 1, second set.
That's what I used to, when I taught, it was a while ago, I used to say to the kids, Taylor, if you've got a good approach shot, you need a good volley. If you have a great approach shot, you need an okay volley. If you have a terrible approach shot, you need an unbelievable volley.
That's right.
that's pretty much how that goes.
Unfortunately, right? I think I was in that third category.
Coming in on bluffs. I remember your volleys; they were pretty snappy.
15 love.
But you're right. That's what's become of the modern volleyer, right?
Yep.
You just got to come in on something real good.
Yep, that's right. And it's easy to create something really good to come in on.
Correct.
It's easier than doing the volley route. You asked me earlier in the match, what's a bad miss? That's a bad miss. 6 feet, 8 feet behind the baseline off your back foot, missing it into the net. The reason I say it's a bad miss, there's no reward even if he makes that shot. It's going to be short in the court. Team is offensive. That's what he wants to have happen.
Mr. Auger-Aliassime is challenging a call on a right center service line. The ball scored in.
113 kicker. It's his second ace.
14-15. Mr. Aliassime has 1 challenge remaining. Game, team.
So team holds on. Now he's up a set and 4-1 in this 4th
Team
round
leads
singles
by 4 games to 1.
on this
Second
Labor Day
set.
Monday in New York.
By 1 set to love.
Can't imagine how hard it would be for Felix Auger-Aliassime to get back into this thing.
Love.
It was emphatic.
15 all.
Again, great approach shot, foot from the sideline, getting Auger-Aliassime stretched out. The fact that Thiem keeps hitting those returns so aggressive and so deep is just, it's not fair. You know what I mean? Because it should be a nice, easy, simple play for Auger-Aliassime. He should be hitting that second serve wide. Ball should be dropping three-quarter court, maybe a little shorter, take it early, open court, and Thiem's got a running backhand. Maybe we come in, maybe we don't, but we should be in control at that point. But when Thiem hits that, that ball that deep with that much quality, the point just resets.
It's the gnarliness of his shots, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a combo, isn't it? I mean, he just hits a huge ball. It's got a lot of spin on it.
Well, here's the thing. Aliassime says what he wants to do when he steps on the court is impose himself. But that's what Thiem does so much.
Yeah, Aliassime said that in the pre-match interview.
Yeah. He's getting out-imposed.
That's the play. That's what should happen more often than not.
30-14.
See him checking behind him for the ball kid and the umpire.
There's quite a bit of space on Ash. That's still not quite enough for Thiem's comfort level.
If you want to do that at your local club, you'd have to walk out the gate, get on the other side.
Game team. Team leads by 5 games to 1. Second set.
Well, Auger-Aliassime has been fighting hard, you know, a couple games ago, was still giving the fist pump, all that sort of stuff. That look looked a little bit like, I don't know what to do. And it's tough when you got a guy hitting the ball this big, hitting it this consistently, and when you back off a little bit, he controls the point. He makes you run, puts you on defense.
Love. Love. Love.
This is a much better game serving for the set than we saw in the first set. with that opening up with the double, 3 loose errors. A little bit easier to serve for the set when you're up 2 breaks rather than just 1.
Game and second sets, team.
Wow. First set took 65 minutes. That one took 36.
By 2 sets to love. Love the team.
Talk a lot about Felix and Denis Shapovalov because they've been childhood friends. They're truly a team in spirit. A couple of years ago when Denis Shapovalov got a wild card. He was a kid, teenager. He got a wild card into the Canadian Open and he stayed at Felix's house. Felix, he was living in Felix's basement for the week. And in that week, he had a terrific run. But he said it was looking from his bed onto the wall. There was a big poster of Rafa Nadal. And he had to play Rafa Nadal. He's staring at this dude.
That's awesome.
And then he beat Rafa Nadal. And he said to Felix, I mean, can we take this down before I play him at least? And that was our first big introduction to Denis Shapovalov.
Love 40.
And for a lot of people, this is an introduction to Felix Auger-Aliassime because he's never had like a real run at a major yet. He's had good wins. He's won a tournament. But we can see what this 20-year-old can become. Right now, he's getting out-muscled, out-hustled by the veteran. Just turned 27.
Game team.
Break right away.
First game, third set.
Yeah, it's tough for Auger-Aliassime, and you know, he's got so much potential. And what we saw earlier in this tournament is how powerful he was, yes, but also how accurate that he has been from the baseline, constructing points, finishing up at the net, dictating play, imposing himself, controlling the play. And it's just not there for him today so far. Now, he can turn it around. We still got a whole set to play here. He's got time to turn it around. And what he's tried to do in that service game, I think, is kind of, honestly, it's where this match is right now. He's not winning the longer points against Dominic Thiem, so hitting the ball in the middle of the court and trying to outslug this guy is not happening. It hasn't happened for 2 sets. He has to go for a little bit more risk. Even if he's off today, he's got to try something different. Try going earlier in the point toward those sidelines. Dictate play.
Again, this is the first time Felix has ever played against this man's strokes. There's so much work on the ball. I can imagine what it could be like playing Rafa Nadal for the first time, and Nadal's a lefty. It's like you're facing something you've just never had to deal with, this buzzsaw ball one after another, right?
It is a unique, it's a different ball. I've never hit against Thiem. I've hit against Nadal, played against Nadal, and it's got different action on it. You know, I actually, the only other forehand that I saw was similar to Nadal's was, you know, I worked with Sock for a very brief time.
Yes.
Kind of when he was deciding to go pro or you know, go to college, and his forehand was, I was like, well, I haven't seen this since Nadal.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good shot.
30-15.
Only time Thiem has ever dropped a match from 2 sets up was back in 2017. He's 11-1, but I'll bet, Taylor, you remember that match he played against Juan Martín del Potro. 2 sets up. Juan Martín was trying to make a comeback. He fought his way back. The Argentine fans here were going absolutely crazy. And he thanked them all for helping him with that win when he won it in 5. It was remarkable.
It would be devastating if you're in Thiem's position, right?
Yeah.
Just feeling that comeback come, the crowd going crazy.
Can I tell you something? I'm kind of used to, I've normalized this fanless US Open, but what I miss is watching one match and hearing an explosion of fandom on one of the outside courts, and you know something big is going on. Something's happening, and all of a sudden you try to get over there in time to see that drama. That's what I miss.
$15 love.
Ace number 10 for Auger-Aliassime. That's well done.
I like it, and that's what needs to happen. He needs to be opening up the court early in these points and coming in and finishing off up at the net. He's actually turned his net approach numbers around very, very well. He started 3 for 10. Now he's got 8 of 19, so trending in the right direction.
$40 love.
By the way, USOpen.org will catch you up on everything that's going on outside of this match. Svetlana Peronkova gets a win in 3 grisly sets against Alice Cornet. Sets up the mother of all quarterfinals. Mami Peronkova against Mami Serena. Thiem up 2 sets and up 2-1 in this third.
$15 love. $15 all.
And again, look where he struck that winner from.
Yeah, no, that's not stock standard operating procedure there. Auger-Aliassime hit a very good backhand return. Like it was about a foot from the baseline, and Thiem came up with an 89-mile-an-hour off the back foot forehand angle winner.
Play that on your old piano.
30.
He's got to look at something. That was a pretty bad miss. And it tends to happen when you feel like you got to go for more. What you're doing is just not working.
Game team. Team leads by 3-1. Third set.
Stay connected to the US Open on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Join the conversation with #US Open. usopen.org.
Lafferty.
Just pressing so much, and I can't really blame him. You know, we talked about it. He's been doing the best he can to hang in these long slugfest rallies and just coming up on the losing end time and time again. So he's got to press. That's one option. The other option is just keep fighting away. Just keep getting in the slugfest, and hopefully Dominic Thiem cools off a little bit.
So assuming that Thiem wins a couple more games here and advances into the quarters against Alex de Minaur, can that Australian turn this into a cage fight?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a totally different matchup, isn't it? I mean, you can't think of a more 180-degree matchup. You got some guy who wants to go toe-to-toe and just throw blow after blow after blow with you. Then with de Minaur, he's just going to run, retrieve. He's not going to try and hurt you too much. He's just going to make you miss. So I think for Thiem, one match rewards big hitting, one match rewards precision.
Team leads by 4-1. Third set, and by 2 sets to love.
Dominic Thiem up 2 sets, up 4-1, serving with new balls. He's got to be feeling pretty good.
The other thing that is going to be good if you're in Thiem's camp, Dominic Thiem himself, is just, you know, the body language, Auger-Aliassime, it just looks like he's lost belief out there. He's still fighting, he's still trying, but it just doesn't look like he believes.
15-all.
Wouldn't want to flirt with it, though, if I was Thiem. Wouldn't want to drop a careless service game. Well, this is going to be tough to work on, to be honest with you, if you're Auger-Aliassime, because, you know, I think with the messages, he has not been able to handle the quality of Thiem's ball. How do you replicate that in practice?
How many
who's
guys
going to do that?
That's true.
Game team.
He's going to break his coach's arms with feeding.
5-1. Third set.
I remember I played Agassi one time at Kooyong, and it was the most uncomfortable I ever felt in a match. And I had my dad out there. I said I never wanted to feel that way again. And my dad was literally standing at the net, just feeding me one ball after another. As I was hitting one, he was feeding another just to rush me. But that's different than what Auger-Aliassime is experiencing out here. He's experiencing a ball that is just massive. That is tough to duplicate.
I wonder, watching this tennis now, Taylor, what your father, Phil Dent, who was a terrific player in his day, back in the 70s, can he even relate to this brand of tennis, this brand of thinking out there?
How he words it, because obviously we coach all the time together, we work at our academy together, we watch tennis together all the time, so we speak about modern tennis often. And the word he used is it's unsophisticated. And what he means by that is just there's not a lot of moving parts here. We don't have to be great at many things. The downside to that is the things that we have to be good at or great at, you better be unbelievable at.
What falls into that category?
I think moving. You know, moving, you have to be a great mover today. Forehands, backhands. You know, if you can't do something with one of those two shots or something's a vulnerability, it's too easy for people to pick on it. Serving, you know, and that's the physical part that we're kind of talking about. There's obviously emotional, mental part, but that hasn't changed over the years. Whereas before, maybe taking the ball early was a little bit more valuable, and coming forward was more valuable. We're learning a change-up or two. It's just becoming very execution-oriented. And I think learning how to, I think learning how to swing hard at the ball, getting a lot of rotation on the ball, and learning how to hit the ball short and wide, getting it through the sideline. I think if you want to be an offensive player, it's got to happen. I mean, what makes this ball so good is getting away through the sideline of the ball, not through the baseline.
And if you can't execute, you get killed. Match points.
Fault. Game, set, match, team. 3 sets to love. 7-6, 6-1, 6-1.